I'd like to call this meeting of the Show Low City Council to order, show that all council members are present. Tonight I've asked Councilman Whipple to lead us in invocation. Afterwards, asked Vice Mayor to lead us in the pledge. You'd all like to stand and join us, you may do so.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the opportunity that we have to meet tonight as a council and community. We ask you to please bless us that we can make good decisions and that we can be cordial with each other. We ask you to please bless the members of our staff, and we're grateful for the effort and time that they put in. We ask a blessing to be with our government leaders, that they can also make wise decisions. We ask you to please bless us this time with the moisture that we stand in need of, that our forest can receive the snow and rainfall that we are in need of. And these things we pray for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Whipple. Appreciate that. Next item on the agenda is call to the public. City Attorney.
Thank you. Any citizen desiring to speak on a matter that is within the jurisdiction of the City Council may do so at this time. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person and shall be addressed to the City Council as a whole and not to any individual member. Issues raised shall be limited to those within the jurisdiction of City Council. Pursuant to the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the City Council cannot discuss or act on items presented at this time. At the conclusion of the call to the public, individual City Council members may respond to criticism made by those who have spoken, ask staff to review a matter, and ask that a matter be put on a future agenda.
Seeing nobody move for call to the public, I'll move to the next item on the agenda under special events, a presentation of the State of the City address. Kind of pretty excited about this. I don't think any of us have seen this, but it's another video that we started doing a few years ago. So I believe since you guys are back there, they're ready back there, right? If we'll go ahead and roll that video, please. Welcome to the State of the City Address. I'm your Mayor, John Leach Jr. This year, Show Low has made some incredible progress in all our departments that continue to make our city a wonderful place to live, work, and visit. Here's a look at some of the highlights.
From our finance department, over the past 20 years, we've earned the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And for the last 4 years, we've received the same accreditation's Triple Crown Award. We keep a balanced budget with a minimum reserve of $1 million, and any tax increase requires a supermajority vote from the council. Transparency is key. Budget meetings are open to the public and schedules are available on our website. From our Public Works Department, this year, we completed several major road projects, including 22nd Avenue, 30th Avenue, and West Owens. Old Linden Road and East Cooley were repaved and widened, and Wolford Road was reconstructed. The Joe Tank Road project was finished, improving access to the Los Caballos Trailhead and Forest Service lands. A $2.4 million grant will fund the design of the Scott Ranch roadway extension, expected to be ready by fall of this year.
Hi, I'm Councilman John Adams. We're here inside the Adams Cabin, the Rawson, Georgia Adams family cabin. One other thing we're working on is we're going to have history markers go around town and marking different places of things that's happened in the history of Show Low, and we'll have a few 3 or 4 or 5 different locations where there's been some real neat history of Show Low, and we'll have that going up here in the next year and being able to document that, and people can learn and to understand kind of what the people before us went through and their challenges and what they overcame, so we can enjoy this beautiful beautiful town.
Upcoming projects include repaving neighborhoods, improving sidewalks, and enhancing street connectivity. Wastewater improvements included upgrades to the Savage Sewer trunk line and a new 25-year master plan. More upgrades are on the way near the treatment facility. Water system improvements included a new well providing 350,000 gallons daily, waterline replacements, and fire hydrant installations. We are also updating old systems and planning for future capacity. Design and build contracts have been awarded for the new Public Works building and the remodeled recreation building. These designs are nearing completion, and we anticipate construction on both projects to start this spring.
Hi, I'm Councilman Whipple. I'm standing out in front of Show Low High School, where I am a proud employee, a teacher here. I've been here for 12 years. I'm recently appointed to the Show Low City Council. One of the opportunities that I've had is serving with the student council here at Show Low High School. I was a student council advisor for about 9 years, and during that time I was able to serve with the students and participate in the Student Government Day, where the students get a chance to go to the city and then shadow around with the different department leads, and they get to actually go out and see, how water works and how sewage works and how public works works as far as maintaining roads and things like that. And so this is an opportunity that the students have here at the high school to learn how the city works and figure out how their money is put to work in the taxes and things like that. So I've been lucky in the opportunity that I've been able to witness that firsthand.
From the Economic Development Department, Show Low welcomed an Amazon distribution facility to the Airport Commerce Center, creating 50 jobs and bringing national attention to our city. We celebrated over 60 small business startups and are making progress on a new convention, events, and sports facility. We introduced workforce housing incentives to address local housing needs and began work on a business incubator to support entrepreneurs. In October of 2024, we partnered with Contour Airlines as our new essential air service provider, improving air travel for residents and visitors alike. Contour Airlines services between the months of October through December resulted in only 3 cancellations, with 1 being due to weather. The city is very optimistic about our new partnership with Contour as our air service provider.
We've been very fortunate as a council to have previous council members and community leaders who worked diligently to bring Show Low to the economic forefront of the White Mountains. And they saw the benefit of a thriving economy also creates a thriving community. And I saw great men and women that I admire. I saw their children have to leave the community because they weren't able to find good, viable jobs that were sustainable careers here in this area. So when I took office on the city council, I made it one of my goals to be able to develop economics here, but not only the economy from a tourism standpoint, but also to develop it so that if my 4 boys decide that they want to make Show Low their home in their adult lives, that they will have those opportunities and that they will be able to have good, viable careers here within our community.
From our Planning and Zoning Department, building permits increased by 21%, with residential permits rising 13% compared to last year. The total valuation of residential permits grew by over $2 million, and all permits combined rose by $7.5 million. From our Community Services Department, the city is dedicated to improving the quality of life through our special events and programs, run and supported by our talented staff all throughout the year. Such events as our annual Freedom Fest, featuring our parade and wet zone, brought an estimated 14,600 attendees, which was up over 26% over the year before. The Scarecrow Walk was a huge success, and our Christmas parade saw over 50 entries. We are also preparing the rodeo grounds for a family-friendly rodeo coming June of this year.
These events really remind me of growing up in Show Low. Reminds me of my childhood. Regularly, we would go down to the local store, the Western store, and get new clothes for the 4th of July. We'd go to the rodeo, we'd go to the parade, and just really enjoy family and friends and barbecues, and it really gave me pride in our community.
From our grants department, this year we secured $2.9 million in new grant funding and are managing over $13.6 million in grant-funded projects. Completed projects include bus shelters, pickleball courts, park restrooms, and the first phase of Savage sewer improvements.
I think that the people that move up here come up to relax and recreate, and then they find themselves wanting to find more activities. And we've grown to a situation where, well, we've got the new area down in the meadow, the hiking paths and things like that. And so far, I've not heard anything negative about the way we have grown. But we're interested in keeping it small town attitude, but we've become a good city of business. That's what I have to say about Show Low. It's a wonderful place to come and visit. It's a good place to be.
From our police department, we opened the Regional Communications Center, improving coordination across agencies. We upgraded our communications system and launched SpiderTech, which provides instant feedback to residents for ongoing cases. Through partnerships with local stores, we've reduced theft and property crimes. Our programs for youth and volunteers continue to thrive, inspiring careers in public safety and fostering community engagement. Our drug recognition experts earned a top 3 state ranking, contributing to Arizona's national recognition, which is also a top 3 ranking.
I love the small town feel that we have here in Show Low, their sense of community that we have. And I'm grateful for everyone that's welcomed us and been very friendly. We have these great relationships that we've developed. And some of my dearest friends and dearest relationships that I have are here in Show Low. One of my duties as a council member is to work with the senior center and the Meals on Wheels. We're grateful for our senior population, grateful for what they've done for our city. We realize that they have given us this great town that we live in, and we hope to pass this on to the future generation better than what we found it.
These achievements reflect the City of Show Low's commitment to progress and community service. Together, we're building a bright future for everyone who calls Show Low home.
From your heart, you just got to really love this community. And I would just wish everybody a prosperous and happy 2025. God bless. Probably never be able to say it enough, but Grace and Miles and your staff, you make us look good. How, I don't know how you do it, but thank you again. Thank you, council, for wanting to pitch in and do that. I think it's amazing when we started doing this years ago how that's grown, and that's a lot of information in that little video. I don't know how long it was, but again, thank you, council, for wanting to do this. Grace, Miles, you guys are amazing. I talk with Miles usually weekly because we're either out and about filming something, but he does the same thing for me, just on a personable note when I'm doing the mayor videos, that he makes me look good. But thank you guys very much. I think everybody did great. John, see? Easy peasy, right?
I just wanted to get another video of Bryce dancing.
Yes, send it to all of us. Anyway, Grace, Miles, thank you very, very much. You guys did an outstanding job. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other comments? Probably did it all. So, thank you, guys. Okay, next item on the agenda is consideration for our consent calendar, acceptance of replacement of Shoal Lake intake valve, consideration approval of Aero Products Component Services, consideration approval of Aero Product Component Services Inc. sublease agreement, consideration of resolution number R 2025-02 approving submitting an application for 2025 Rebuilding America Infrastructure. Consideration of the minutes of the Show Low City Council meeting. See when it was. January 7th, 2025. Any questions, comments, any pull anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar as read.
I move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Got a motion, got a second by Councilman Hatch. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing and consideration of prioritizing of projects for community development block grant funding and consideration of resolution number R 2025-03, authorizing submitting applications for community development grant funds. Ms. Adams, this is twice, right?
It's twice. Again, Mayor and council members. The city of Show Low is being offered approximately $271,163 by the Arizona Department of Housing through the Community Development Block Grant Program. This program funds projects to assist persons of low to moderate income, to prevent or eliminate slum and blight, or to solve an urgent need or health hazard. The first public hearing on this matter was held on December 5th to obtain community input on the use of these CDBG funds. No public input was received at the public hearing. Tonight's public hearing is to solicit additional public input on possible projects for the CDBG funds. Following the hearing, the council may select the final community development block grant project to be submitted for application and to adopt an applicable resolution. Staff recommends the sidewalk improvement project on 9th Street between Dusep Clubs and Frontier Park.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll open it up for a public hearing. Anybody wish to speak on this matter may do so at this time. Seeing nobody run up here, I'll close it and turn it back to the council for questions or motions.
I thought Commander Westover was coming up. You didn't want to come talk, Commander Westover?
We don't want him to talk just to talk.
Okay. I thought he wanted to talk about slum and blight, so.
No, but thank you for putting this on 9th and by Frontier, because we definitely need that fixed immediately just because of the events that are happening, so appreciate that. Any other questions or comments or motions? I'll look for any of the above.
I'll make a motion.
Vice Mayor.
I move to apply for community development block grant funding and approve the proposed project as the sidewalk improvements on both sides of 9th Street between the Dusep Clubs and Frontier Park. Further, I move to adopt resolution number R 2025-03, authorizing the submission of an application for fiscal year 2025 community development block grant funds, certifying that the selected project aids in the prevention or elimination of slum and blight within the community's established downtown redevelopment area as adopted by resolution number R 2024-35.
Yeah, I got a motion. I need a second. Got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much for going after these grants. I know it was on our radar to put sidewalks. It's nice to have these grants for sure. Alrighty, next item on the agenda is consideration of authorizing to purchase a new patrol vehicle. Chief Provost.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. November of last year, the police department's K-9 vehicle was towed to the dealership for repairs. During the tow, the frame of the vehicle was damaged by the tow company. This damage was to a specialty vehicle and resulted in total loss of the vehicle. City staff contacted Show Low Ford, who was able to locate a 2024 Ford Expedition through their contacts that would be available immediately. The vehicle cost $53,276.88, plus $4,491.24 in taxes, for a total of $57,768.12. Upfitting for the new vehicle will cost approximately $24,547.11 for equipment through MHQ, which is a state contracted company, and $1,073.46 for decals through Vintage Signworks. The new vehicle upfitting and decals will be paid from Prop 207 funds, which is the marijuana funding, and the city will be recuperating about $20,385.65 from insurance. I will note that amount is for the vehicle only. We should be getting some money back for the equipment that's on the vehicle, but we won't know that until after the switch over to see what equipment we can use. So with that, staff does recommend approving the purchase of a 2024 Ford Expedition upfitting equipment and decals for a total amount not to exceed $83,388.69. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Vice Mayor?
Yes, is the money that we're recouping from the insurance company, is that from the towing company's insurance company?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Make a motion.
Any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Councilman Adams.
I move to authorize the purchase of a 2024 Ford Expedition for the amount not to exceed $83,388.69, which includes all required outfitting equipment and decals.
Got a motion, and need a second. Got a second with Councilman Whipple. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Chief. How long till that's ready?
I'm sorry.
How long till that's ready?
Ford can have that to us, I believe, by next week.
Oh, nice.
Now, it'll probably take a little longer for that to get it upfitted because we'll have to wait for MHQ to get whatever parts in they need.
Very busy vehicle. Thank you,
Stay
sir.
easy. Thank you.
All righty, next item on the agenda is item C that needs to be pulled for tonight. We'll bring back to us at a later meeting. Next item on the agenda is item D, consideration of resolution number R 2025-04, declaring a housing shortage emergency, abatement and proliferation of short-term rentals. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So recently, the staff was contacted by representatives of the city of Sedona. Actually, the mayor of the city of Sedona reached out to our mayor and asked if we would join them in adopting this resolution declaring a housing emergency related to the use of residential properties for short-term rentals. As we know, the city of Sedona, of course, has a lot of issues with their short-term rentals, and that's had a major impact on their workforce housing and increasing housing prices. The city of Show Low has some of those similar concerns, although we don't know if our issues here are quite to the level they are in Sedona. We have some of those same concerns. But what the mayor of Sedona is asking us to do is just to declare to the legislature that there is these housing shortages statewide, and asking the legislature to basically sometime hopefully in this session to return some local control to municipalities to deal with this issue. And of course, we're in favor of local control. Not every community needs to follow what the state has. Each community is different. Even though we have some issues here, we may not be as bad as Sedona. Our rules and regulations may look different than theirs. And so we need to return the local control to the communities to deal with the short-term rentals the best fits their area and their neighborhood. And so that's what the mayor of Sedona has asked us to do. Talking over with the mayor, thought we would put it on the agenda and see if we wanted to join in with Sedona and just asking the legislature to look at the short-term rental legislation and look at possibly adopting something that would return local control to the communities. Available for any questions.
Thanks, City Manager. You know, there's a lot of things that we're going to have to get on board with in rural Arizona probably in the next few months. This is kind of the start of it. Definitely need local control because Sedona is nothing like Show Low. You know, Scottsdale is nothing like Show Low. So it's, I did get on the phone with the city manager last week because we want to know exactly what he's talking about, because he sent, it was probably about that thick. It's like, whoa, what does all this mean? And basically what it means was just keeping the local control, especially over short-term rentals, because it's totally different in every area. So any other questions?
If I get ready for a motion, and I'll also make a comment on this. I feel like I agree with what Mr. Brown has said and what you've said, Mayor. I think that this is something that we're always fighting with the state because we want to retain local control over our community and the people that live here and the people that reside here and play here and all that kind of stuff. And so when short-term rentals first started taking off, their lobbyists worked heavy on the legislature to enact legislation that prohibited any type of regulations over short-term rentals. These national companies kind of came in, and so they immediately took that away from us. And over the years, we've kind of chipped away as we've seen the unintended consequences of these short-term rentals and the need for local control. There's policing issues, there's zoning issues, there's, essentially you're putting a small business in a residential area, and so they've changed these dynamics. And so I think that even though we're not Sedona, we very well could be very shortly. And so I think that this helps us get to a point where we're able to enact local regulations and policies and procedures to put into place that work for Show Low. And I know that Governor Hobbs talked about this when she spoke to us at the Arizona League of Cities and Towns luncheon. This was something that she said was a priority. So I hope that by us passing this, that it helps convey that to our legislatures, because it seems like the executive branch understands the need for this, and I hope that the members of our legislatures in this area, they understand that this is something that is very it could become a problem, and we need to be able to combat that and deal with that at a local level. So that's why I would move to adopt resolution number R 2025-04, declaring a housing shortage emergency exacerbated by the proliferation of short-term rentals.
Got a motion? I'll go ahead and second that. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you for that. Thank you, City Manager. Next item on the agenda is consideration of approval to select conceptual design for the Show Low Sports and Event Center project. Minister Brown.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I won't go over all the history that's there in your staff summary. You already heard that on our meeting on December 10th. I think the important part of what we need to discuss tonight is based on those concepts that were presented by Mr. Crandall at that meeting on December 10th. I think we had, of course, the 6 and the 8 court model that were presented. At that meeting, the council requested that we contact SFA, that's called the Sports Facility Advisory Group, to get some financial performance from them, to see what model would be best. When we spoke with Evan Eliff of SFA, he kind of indicated he needed to see a similar type facility before he could do that financial analysis. His financial analysis was based on the old model, and this has since evolved into a much bigger and better, we think, better concept than what was originally presented. We tried to do some research. Evan indicated he didn't know of a facility quite like what we were proposing, and he works all over the United States. So we did reach out and try to find some different facilities. The only ones we could find were a place in Hennessy, Oklahoma, and one in Nebraska. But when we looked on a line of their models, it was more of a sports center that was really like a 2 or 3 court building and really wasn't to the degree that we had in our building. So we wanted to it felt like it wasn't really worth it to go take a trip that far to a building that really wasn't quite like ours. And actually thinking about it and talking about it with the mayor and others, I don't know if we want to focus so much right now on the 6 versus the 8 court. I think we really want to focus in on, I think we got a good size of the building, and the council seems to be comfortable with what the financial cost would be. I think what we need to do is move forward and get the building designed. And through the design process, we can figure out what's the best design for Show Low, whether it's 6, 7 courts, 8 courts, however many seats in there. Rick Crandall did a good job of giving us a conceptual model, but he hasn't delved into the nitty-gritty of the design. And we may find in the design process that certain things don't work, and we need to move and shift some things around. So I really don't want to get locked in on a certain design or model right now. I'd rather just move forward with this design process, and during that process, we'll have the architect come, meet with the committee and the staff, and even maybe come to a council meeting or two and get your feedback and thoughts on what works best for Show Low. I think that's what everybody's interested in, is what's going to work best for Show Low going forward. So based on that, I think what we'd like to see tonight is just a motion to say, let's move forward and with this design build process Bill can maybe talk a little bit more about the process, but basically what that means is that you put out a proposal for people to come in and submit designs to us, and we would have a committee that would look through them and review them and pick the person that we feel is best to help us in Show Low design it and then actually build it. And there's a process to go through that, but you guys will be involved in that process. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I think rather than trying to take 2 or 3 more months trying to figure out if there's one out there quite like ours, I think let's move forward and let's get the design going on the project.
Thanks, City Manager. Bill, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I think Morgan covered it very well, but what part of the answer that we get tonight is going to help guide staff into the type of procurement that we have to do. We have to advertise and basically go out to design build firms and say, City of Show Low has a budget of this much and we're looking for just some real general things in a building. Then we will shortlist 3 to 5 finalist firms. And from them, because of the way that we're doing this, we would actually ask them to include a proposal. So they would give us some renderings and drawings and some other work product in the selection process, and then give us some pricing for the building. So it will still be a qualification-based selection, but we will have the pricing. So once we select our number 1 consultant or design build team, then we look at their price proposal. If they're way out in left field with their costs, then we work with the next person down. And that's just the way the process is laid out in the state statutes that way. So, but this will give us some direction so we know how that RFP is gonna, or that RFQ is gonna look to get going forward with it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Do we know how long this window will be open? Is this something that, like, do we put 3 months on it? Or are we looking at 10 months? I mean, how long do we expect this to give these businesses a chance to propose something?
So because you really don't have firms here locally, it's gonna have to be maybe a little bit longer than what we would do on a normal project. Like normally we'd bid it in a couple of weeks, we'd have the process. But I think we need to give some national firms a chance to look at it and get the best proposal. So maybe a month, a couple months, but not 10 months.
Okay, I don't want to see it dragging on too long.
And because we're gonna have the design proposal as part of the final shortlist, we're gonna need to give them some time to really give us a quality proposal and really bring their teams together and talk to their people about costs, get recommendations about what best to do. So that part of the process, the second half of the selection process is, we probably want to give them 6 weeks at least to get all that stuff together, and that's pretty fast track.
I kind of like the direction Councilman Whipple went. I mean, we don't wait 6 months and, I mean, so I don't know if we want to set a date or anything, but maybe let them know during that process, by the way, I don't want to be put on the back burner, for something like this.
And we'll lay out all of the dates and the deadlines and things like that in there. I'm just saying that second part where they actually have to come up with some designs.
Sure.
Is going to take them some time. We don't want to rush them, but we don't want to give them a lot of time, so they put it on the back burner. So you kind of got to, I think.
It's kind of a fine line, because if you rush them too fast, sometimes they'll just back off and say, I'm not going to bid, because you're rushing me. So we'll try to give them enough time to be able to think about it, give us the best design that they can, but we don't want it stretching out 6, 8, 10 months.
Right, and you've talked to a few of these already, haven't you? Because
Actually, in the last few weeks, Shane and Trampus and myself have been attending some webinars. We're going to do a third. We've done 2 on this whole procurement process. And one of the questions that they still haven't answered is, what's the right amount of time to give the design build firms to come up with their concepts and their proposals? So I think that's coming up in the third and final, hopefully, webinar that we do.
Sure. I know I'm sure everybody up on the council up here always thinks about, we don't want to underbuild. And I always say I love overbuilding, but we don't want to underbuild for something. I think we got to look for what happens 10, 15, 20 years from now, not 5 years from now. So pretty excited to see some kind of, Vice Mayor.
In that request for qualifications, will we give them minimum items that we want in the project.
Right, so we'll have a minimum scope, and that's kind of the tricky part that we're looking at here, but I think we're gonna go with Mr. Crandall's basic range of seating, the size of the arena. I think we're gonna, both of those, and I know we don't really wanna talk about the 6 and 8, but both of those concepts had room for a 85 by 200 arena that allows you to have arena sports, arena football, arena whatever. That's standard footprint for that. So it would include that, and then, you know, a range of seating, a range of parking, and then all of the other facilities that have to go for a facility that size that can house that many people, you know, the number of toilets you have to have, and your HVAC and all of that. So we're just gonna give them some very general baseline numbers in the original part, and then it's their turn to come in and show us what they want to do for us and tell us what they think we need.
There'll also be, part of the request for qualifications is we want them to show us their experience in doing these similar types of projects, their references, their financial capabilities, all that is part of the RFQ.
Thank you.
And the design build processes should be a very collaborative process. So these designers, the design builders, are going to be working closely with staff and council. You know, they're just not going to walk away and go into a black box and come out here and say, here's your final product. So there's a lot of collaboration that's going to happen too.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Motions? Table, go forward, what do you want to do? Vice Mayor?
I move to approve selecting the conceptual design as presented for the Sholo Sports and Event Center project and moving forward on the design of the project that will create the best experience for the community and the users of the facility.
Got a motion, need a second? Second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, City Manager. I know this is a long process, but we all want to make sure we get it right, for sure. Which, to be honest, I don't think we can go wrong. I really don't. After many, I would say many months of talking about it, many years of talking about it, we all know it's needed, and I don't think no matter what we do, we go wrong. So, next item on the agenda is summary of current events. Nobody's got Councilman Adams.
Just want to remind everybody we're starting a little bit of fire danger to clean up around their houses and help us reduce that fire potential, that we can be safe this summer, and everyone stay safe.
Vice Mayor.
Councilman Adams and I and the city manager and the assistant city manager went to the legislative day in the Valley this last week. It was very interesting and it was productive, I think, and I appreciate them putting that together, and appreciate Mike doing his work too. So I think we have a lot of great things to look forward to.
Yeah, thank you guys for going in my absence. I appreciate it. But all the council's welcome to go. The more the merrier, for sure. Thank you, guys. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As we had earlier in our work session, we've begun the process to prepare the city's fiscal year 2026 budget. We are holding our town hall budget meeting specifically for citizen input on Thursday, January 30th at 6 p.m. here in Council Chamber. And as noted, all budget meetings are open to the public, and if you need a list of dates, you can check our website. Just a reminder that the Turn of the Card Community Center will be celebrating, hopefully, the coming of spring with a free Groundhog Day breakfast on Friday, January 31st from 6 to 10 a.m. The Community Center located at 31 East McNeil. Everyone is invited to attend. Appreciate the Whipple family and this great tradition of the Groundhog Day breakfast that their dad started many years ago. And in Public Works projects, the city's contractor finished some block work at you see over at the Shoal Lake Spillway. That restroom is going in. He's going to work on the building. They've also started on working on a ramada out there that will be staked out. doing some concrete work on that, and then you'll see some work on our sunken manhole repair project. They're gonna start in Torreon and Bison Retreat to repair some of those manholes. We thank everyone for their patience as we work through those projects.
Now, if we can get some water in Shoal Lake and utilize it, like again, we need some moisture. Just to add on what Councilman Adams said about the fire danger, I got a couple texts or messages on social media about some issues that were going on in Torreon, which has kind of shocked me. Not just that area, but in our community. If you see some kind of fire hazard, you need to report it. Now, we're not going to wait till April, May, but you guys all need to let us know. Call and report it. It's our community. Back to the VRBOs, not saying that's what was going on in this certain house, but I'm pretty sure more than likely. So if you see something going on in your neighborhood, you need to report it. We don't want to report it after this fire goes through our community, which we pray never happens. But as a retired firefighter working the Rodeo Chetiskar, I can see what fire's done. You can see what the devastation out in California has done. It's sad, but how could it not? I mean, you see those houses where they have a house in your backyard, a house in your front yard. It was devastating. So it's time to report it now. We don't want to wait till, March and April before we get in the heavy fire season. It's heavy fire season now. We all know what cold weather does, especially with no moisture. It dries everything out quicker than, probably just as quick as cold and wind. So report it. It's our community, so let's be safe out there. Scheduling of meetings.
If we have anything, just our regular council meetings, that's it.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session where we'll have a discussion and consultation with our legal advice with our attorneys or attorney.
I'll move to go into executive session.
I got a motion to go into executive session, second by Councilman Hatch. All those in favor go into executive session. All those opposed, motion passed. This time we'll go into executive session. Thank you, guys.